Hi guys, and welcome to another podcast. Please excuse the coughing. It's part of the black label, like lines that you see on the documents. And I don't want to be rude or imply or prideful of any type of way. I just want to keep going with what it is that I'm trying to tell you. It's that I want to take these tools that have kind of permeated in my mind and use them for the purpose of seeking quantity. Now, I've already been part of the oneness of, I'm within, I'm connected into the greatness of it all. And for now, what it is that I'm actually going to aim for here is I'm going to talk about numerical progression and the reason why certain chords are used in musical progressions, and how that ties in with the magical loom of back in the day that were created 1800s, and it's important. So one thing that I'm gonna mention here first of all is that I think I realize what it is that's kind of making this such a strangely silent opera of sorts. And what I'm gonna do is, because of that concentration, because it's like we're chasing something kind of like a dog, climbing things like a cat, and we're looking at things like a lizard, like a chameleon of sorts, just kind of like our eyes looking in different directions, looking Wikipedia, predators of sorts, and trying to end that part of it, because it's just kind of like, hey, shut the hell up. And so with that being said, canoodle, that's a word that you're going to need to know for future reference. It comes from what the Indians used to do back in the day, and it's the reason why we've kind of intertwined Indians with Native Americans, and we see movies about cowboys and all that, and you don't see Native Americans usually wearing turbans, and it's Indians that wear turbans. And so to be able to differentiate that requires sort of a gateway, a gateway that is created from beige and bronze cloud roots. You can kind of see it with the way that the Spartans were in Sparta, with their shields, and it was just kind of like an upward arrow, a lot of arrows that rained down from the skies, and it brought two people together, a couple people together. I guess it's the same thing, and slowing it down a little bit. What we're going to do is bring in the mention of star eclipses, and that's where planets align and sort of form a luncheon upon a galleon. And that is a beautiful influence. A beautiful influence is kind of like a wreak havoc upon everything type of influence that comes from like a focus of like a bowling alley. You want to throw that bowling ball all the way all the way down the electric aisle. Watch all the pins tumble, and it's similarly important to what I was discussing before. When you kind of take yourself away from the bowling alley kind of view, from being within a bowling alley, you kind of You look down upon it, you see strings. So when you see those strings, what it kind of resembles is the musical progression. It's the chords. And so when you look at the chords and the musical progression, that is what brings everyone together to using, regular, normal A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and beyond that, we haven't yet wanted to take the glass plate that sits between G and H chords and beyond. We haven't yet wanted to take that from this dimension. I mean, we're only listening to music from kind of like, I guess I would say, the fifth dimensional perspective, possibly beyond that. If you've seen the movie Interstellar, it kind of gets into that in sort of an inceptive type of way. And that's the amazing thing that links together the musical progression in a jazzy type of way, like jazz fingers, and you're just like, just like it, okay, just like what I'm fucking saying, and subscribe, of course. If you have to pause to subscribe, go ahead and do that now. If you can't, then just keep subscribing. Tell your friends to subscribe. And anyways, back to the important part about Christmas and musical chord progression, and why it saves Christmas and why it's important to keep going with normal chord progressions, major chord progressions, is because guitar tabs, you'll find it easier instead of going and exploring new realms. You're able to kind of stay within the safe area, because you never know what kind of out of bounds music is going to come your way, and not to make you fear it in a sense, but to illuminate that area of music, so that when you finally listen to something experimental for a change, because you're fucking normie most of the time, and when you finally listen to something different, it's just kind of like, I think I understand now where this guy's coming from. I think I can see beyond a shadow of a doubt what it is that is going up into the light source. And so it's kind of like a soul thing. It's like a spiritual thing. And that's why we use oftentimes the F chord, C chord, G chord, And when you put those together, it brings out kind of a typical thing that makes everyone feel good about themselves, makes them feel like bowling. You're sitting there in the bowling alley, those experiences where you're sitting there and you're just listening to the sounds of pins being hit, and it just goes up. And when you think about that, you start securing all of your passwords, and you're just like, oh my fucking god, why didn't I think of that? And then when you just keep playing guitar, and you recognize the universal kind of sound that comes in, like Universal Studios, the world just keeps spinning. And that's what's important, And this Christmas holiday, you're definitely going to want to do that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And just, hit up the beige walls. And, when you feel yourself out, inhale, exhale, and just enjoy, the phenomenal sound of, squelch. All right, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. This has been a very informational podcast, and you're fucking lucky. You're blessed to hear this. All right, have a wonderful one. Thanks, and subscribe. Bye. Or see you.